All right, friends, it's Timon, and I got to get this video out of the way. I got to react to it because it's been a while, and I've wanted to react to it now for a little while. So I'm going to react to this video. It's by this lady called Amber. So Amber says, what God really intended us to eat, the Bible's original diet. So she needs a book, this God character that lives in a book, and the book to tell her what she needs to eat. Okay.
My claim is that God's original design for humans was a plant-based diet. So this one's a little bit of a weird one today, but
God's plan? Who's God exactly? Man. Man thinks he's God. He wrote a book called Bible. Bunch of writing in there, bunch of scratching on a piece of paper. It's really simple. That's really the bottom line, okay?
since I'm coming up to having finished the Bible in less than
Let's put it this way. God never wrote the Bible, man did. Man created God and created the Bible. Yeah, because if man doesn't speak the word or produce the book, it doesn't exist. It's really simple. It cannot exist without man. Only man could make something exist like that.
a year, I decided to take on this little side project as my church and I, we've gone through a lot of these topics.
Again, churches don't exist. They're man-made. They don't exist in nature. God never made a church. Man did. They created it and they called it church.
Throughout the year and the last few years, actually.
Okay.
And we've hit on some of these different passages that have made me question a lot of things. And I thought I would do a little bit.
Yes, question a lot of things. And I bet you she had probably good grades in school. She was a model student, but too stupid to understand the fake world from the real world. Okay.
Of a deeper dive. My claim is not that eating
The
meat
deeper diet?
is a sin. And you'll see
Why would meat be a sin to eat? Why would something that is natural for us to eat, instinctually, we know instinctually that is what we are supposed to eat, regardless whether you were brought up on the peasant slave food diet, you still have instincts, you know, to eat meat. It's like this. If you were starving, right? If you were starving, you're about to die, what would you choose? The salad or the meat? You know you would choose the meat and not the salad because it's instinctual. It's based on survival. Now, salad could be considered a survival food if there was no meat there. You'd probably eat the salad because to curb the pain in your stomach, it's hurting so bad because you're hungry.
that throughout all the stuff I'm going to talk about, but I am going to claim that a plant-based diet was part of the original plan. So
The original plan, you mean the fake plan? It's part of the fake plan to control people, to control the slaves. Religion is basically to control slaves. The Holy Bible means to control man. That's what it means, to enslave man. Holy Bible, to enslave man. It's the same thing, religion. I guess people don't know how to interpret it or read it properly.
we will see in Genesis 1:29, and I'm just going to read this off the screen.
Yeah.
And God said, behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. So human
Yeah, so man said this, and God, man, and man said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seeds. Well, man didn't give us every tree bearing seeds. Nature did, which is upon the face of all the earth. Yeah, it's all over the earth. It's called nature. The last time I looked, we live in nature. We came from nature. We live in it. We're part of it. And every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. Well, I don't know how many fruit yielding seeds were out there on the planet until we started engineering them. All right. To you it shall be for meat. To you it shall be for meat. Yeah, we eat meat. We don't eat plants because plants are not really good for us. They could be considered survival food. That's it. There's no meat.
Humans were meant to eat fruits, seeds, grains, nuts. That's what I get from that passage.
No, we're not. We're not meant to eat grains, seeds. That's just peasant food, seeds or nuts or any of these so-called. Man, these vegetables don't even exist. These grains are fucking GMO modified. No, we're not meant to eat any of them. Just like a dog is not meant to eat them. He's meant to eat his natural diet, meat, just like humans, raw in its natural state,
And then
untampered by man.
after the fall, and by the fall, I mean after man sins, we have
I
gone
love this one. When man sins. Yeah, okay. And here's the thing. These are man's laws. These are man's laws. If you do something against these things, you sin against man, these man's laws, or you're going to go to hell or heaven. Yeah, but guess what? If you sin against nature's laws and eat what you're not supposed to, you're going to pay the price. Get it? On this planet. It's going to take you to hell. Yeah, it's going to give you, you're going to be riddled with every disease. You may even die. You'll be crippled. You'll be fucked up. Your teeth will rot. So will your body. So will your body. It will rot. And you will call it happy birthday, another year of deterioration, and you'll clap and you'll enjoy it and you'll love it too, and you'll celebrate another year of deterioration because you violated the laws of nature. But violating these laws are not going to do anything to you other than they'll put fear in you that you're going to go to the happy place or the dirty place.
into the fall. We now no longer live in a perfect world. This is what he has to say.
Yeah, after the fall, we don't live in a perfect world. So once we started farming, we don't live in a perfect world anymore because we fucked ourselves. Farming is unnatural. Yes, okay.
Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. So that means vegetables and herbs were introduced at that point. So at this
No, it wasn't. That just means somebody wrote something on a piece of paper. It doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean that was really introduced. You don't have any proof of any of that.
point, we've got all sorts of plants. To me, when I'm seeing
At this point, we have all sorts of plants. Well, you go out in the forest. You're going to eat any of those plants? Go eat them.
that there are specific instructions for food at this point, which means it was very intentional. It never says, let's eat meat. It says, these are the foods for you.
Yeah. So because something says something, some dude wrote something, you're going to believe what some guy said or wrote down in a piece of paper? Are you crazy or something?
You humans. And apparently there are Christian teachers out there who call this God's perfect diet,
So if I write a crazy book and I tell you to do all these crazy things, will you follow it too?
which is a return to the Edenic ways of eating, which include fruit, vegetable, nuts, seeds, grains. So
Yeah, so that we can be fucked up, crippled, suffer from dementia, lose our eyesight, let our teeth rot and have rotting bodies and deteriorate faster than the last time. Then we can regenerate. Yeah, okay. And end up crippled. Yeah, sure.
you get the idea. Not only does this exclude animal products, it also excludes
Of course, it would exclude animal products, the number one thing that would keep you healthy and strong. Why would they? How could they rule you? How could they enslave you? How could they slave a strong person, strong people, strong-minded, strong people, well-developed people? How could they? It's impossible. They have to deteriorate you so they can control you. They have to weaken you. Here's the thing. They're surprised about the Ottoman Empire, the Mongol Empire, how they spread, yet they didn't build anything, but they spread so fast. And they took over mass lands. Like, they just beat people like they were nothing. Well, I don't know why. Because they were all farming. That's why they got beat. And the Mongols, they ate meat and drank raw milk, ate meat, drank blood. You don't understand me, bro? They ate animal products. That's why they beat everybody. They saw them as weak because they had rotting teeth. They even laughed at them and said, look at these people. They have rotting teeth and rotting bodies. They're not even developed. Yeah, they're weak, not underdeveloped, a bunch of things. Low testosterone, high estrogen. How could they fight? They were easily subdued by the Mongols. Very easily. See, weak people are easy to subdue. Strong people aren't so easy.
processed foods. So I'm not saying that anybody
Processed foods, they don't exist. They only exist here, people making it.
is perfect out there. And once again, nobody's a sinner for not eating whole plant foods. But this shows you what the ideal
That's just ridiculous, whatever. You're sinning against nature, not eating your natural diet. What are you talking about?
is meant to be. And you'll see this time and time again. No matter what diet somebody goes on, you notice that the people who tend towards eating wholesome foods, even if it's cutting out all processed foods and going for meat and vegetables,
What's wholesome foods? Processed foods don't exist in nature. They're man-made. Again, just like your Bible, it's man-made. Now she's like, fruits and vegetables. Those fruits and vegetables are engineered. Now, meat hasn't really changed. It's domesticated, but it hasn't changed. It's still meat.
even they get healthier because they cut out the parts that weren't meant for us. So was it the meat that got
And what part's that?
them healthier, or was it just the lack of junk that got them healthier?
No, they're still not healthy. Here's the thing. They're eating meat, but they're eating these anti-nutrients, fruits and vegetables. That's what she just said, but they cut out the processed food. Okay. So they eliminated one part of the diet, but they're still suffering by eating these toxic fruits and vegetables. So there you go. And next, they're not eating the animal products in their natural state. They're cooking them.
And that's true even for a vegan diet. And by vegan, I mean a super healthy plant-based diet.
I love this. And they, again, a super healthy plant-based diet. They always have to use this word when they say plants. They always say, oh, but a healthy carb like potatoes. That one guy said that in his video. Oh, these unhealthy, he goes, oh yeah, these other carbs, you don't eat them, but you got to eat a healthy carb like potatoes. Well, that's not a healthy carb either. There's no such thing as a healthy carb or healthy vegetables. When you go to the health food store, what makes it healthy? There's nothing there healthy at all. It's just ridiculous. It's just a word they put there. It's just like her. She's out of her mind. She's telling you these healthy vegetables. She doesn't give you one thing that is healthy about them. What's healthy about oxalates? What's healthy about tannins and lectins and shit? What's healthy about fructose? What's so healthy about those things, arsenic and cyanide and the nuts, the cyanide and the arsenic and the rice and shit and all that? What is so healthy about those things in humans? What will make them so healthy for us? These fucking poisonous things.
Because as we all know, a vegan diet can be Oreos, chips, and soda. Now here's where we get
It could be, but then there's raw vegan and then there's cooked vegan, right?
introduced to meat. After the flood,
There's raw carnivores and then there's cooked carnivores. There's two different kinds.
Noah was told in Genesis 9:3, every moving thing that liveth shall be meat
There's no proof there's a guy called Noah out there, anybody.
for you. Even as the green herb have I given you all things. So this one seems to be more of a temporary, permissive thing.
Okay.
And that's because after the flood, you got to wonder how many plants survived a flood
A temporary permissive thing. I love this. Everything to control you.
for that.
That just shows you religion is enslavement. Everything to control you, to dictate and tell you what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat. You don't know. Oh, I don't know what to eat. Ask my mom. She knows what I eat. Oh yeah, you don't know what you want to eat. You don't know what to eat. Most children really know. I knew meat. I always wanted meat, but my parents, they wanted to feed me the peasant slave food diet. My instincts told me meat. They told me plants were bad.
Long, probably not much, and all he had available was meat to eat. But God immediately sets boundaries right in the second verse. But flesh,
There you go. All he had was available was meat to eat. Why? Because these plants didn't exist. We had animals. Plants, bro, get it? They didn't farm.
with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat.
But we're not adapted to eating plants. We're adapted to eating meat. So it says here, but flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood, therefore shall ye not eat. So let me get this straight. This guy, Jesus Christ, at the Last Supper, he broke bread, which is poisonous to humans. So God fed humans bread. which is artificial. That's not natural. And he fed them wine, pretending it was blood, but it was wine. So he fed them poison. He poisoned them with wine, alcohol, which is poison, and he gave them bread, which destroys humans, which is poisonous as well, especially in those days. You know what I mean? Like, that's just crazy. It's a known fact. That's just ridiculous.
So he's very particular about how it is you are to eat or not eat meat. And you'll see a lot of the particularities in Leviticus
Yes, he's particular how you should eat meat and be healthy and not healthy, so we can control the fuck out of you.
as well. But what we see with Noah is it hints that it wasn't part of the ideal. God doesn't take it back. He doesn't say, okay, the plants are back. You know what? Just go back to eating plants. But that doesn't mean that the plants weren't the ideal food for humans. It's also why I don't think
Again, what makes them the ideal food for humans? Even if they weren't or they are, what makes them that?
it's a sin. He gave us permission and he did
Why does it make it a sin exactly? What's so sinful about eating something that's healthy for you, meat?
not take it back. But what proof do we have that maybe this is still our ideal? Why? I mean,
Like,
how
why
do we
would,
know?
why would something that is made for us to eat, that has no toxins in it, and it's actually has all the nutrients, not deficient in one nutrient, it's high in amino acids, has all the essentials, has just about every kind of vitamin, mineral that we need. There's no deficiency. It has no toxins or sugar, any of these bad things that will fuck us up. So why would it be sinful to eat meat again? Please, I just would love to know. Where are you getting this reasoning from?
God doesn't change it. I think there are some stories in here that really point to the fact that those people that refrained from eating meat were then gifted good health or
They were refrained from eating meat. They were gifted good health. How were they gifted good health from refraining from eating meat, which is healthy for you? How come you never say meat is healthy? Why do you keep referring to these vegetables and fruits are healthy? Healthy diet, this vegan healthy diet, these fruits and vegetables, healthy fruit and vegetables. Why can't you say meat healthy? Why can't you use the word healthy when it comes to meat? You know what's in meat? What? Okay, here's the thing. I still want to know what makes meat sinful though. Why is meat sinful to eat? Why? What makes it so sinful?
fortune. So we see in stories like that of Daniel that shows him returning to plant foods as an act of faith, health, and his
So what? He's returning to plant-based foods for health and what? For what?
devotion to God. Daniel and his
Devotion to man, to enslave man. Okay.
friends chose a vegetable-based diet instead of eating the king's meat. I'm not going to read
I love that. The king is eating meat, but the slaves eat the plants. Yes, to weaken them. Okay.
this one because it's pretty long, but maybe I'll
Yes, to increase his estrogen, lower his testosterone. And the king's eating meat while he's got high testosterone, and he's boinking all the chicks and having a good time. Yeah, and very healthy. Yes.
just keep it up here on the screen. It's Daniel chapter 1, verse 8 through 16.
Sure.
So again, God didn't command anyone to stop eating meat. In fact, he had very specific rules in Leviticus for how his chosen people should eat meat. And
So the slave master didn't have he didn't choose. He just had this thing who he wanted to eat and not to eat. The peasant slave food diet as opposed to eating the natural diet. Oh, okay, yeah.
what meat they were allowed. But in Daniel's example,
Oh, what meat they were allowed. They weren't just allowed any kind of meat. Right.
those who chose to follow more like the original plan often experienced favor,
The original plan? We never know. We had an original plan out in nature as a natural human out in nature when you're hunting. I don't think you're really looking around for these so-called plans when you're a hunter, hunting animals to eat them. Okay?
and health. In Isaiah, we read
Oh, in health, yes.
about a prophetic imagery about the coming kingdom and return to peace and nonviolence. This is Isaiah 11.
Peace and nonviolence? We're returning to peace and nonviolence. Have you ever been out in nature? It's very violent out there. There's no peace. Never rests.
6 through 9. So in this passage, we see that the animals
So how come the animals are not sinning then if they're like killing animals indiscriminately, some of them because they're competing with them for food, just killing them, and because they're in their way, and they're killing animals also to eat them? Are they sinners too? And they're not eating peasant slave food diets. They're eating what they're supposed to eat. Are they sinning? Is that healthy for them to be eating all that meat and stuff, these carnivore animals out there? Should they be doing that? How come the plant-based animals, they don't eat meat? Or do they? Are they considered omnivores too? Sometimes they eat meat, don't they? Sometimes even the carnivores might even eat meat or eat something along the way. I'm not even sure.
Get along with other animals. Children are safe to play near anything that we would consider violent, potentially deadly
Like lions. You let your children run around and play with lions. Yeah, sure.
creatures. So not even the lions and the lambs are having any issues. And we're seeing a world where
Oh, they're not having any issues. So let me get this straight. The carnivore animals, they don't have any issues. So they're living on breatharian diets then? Is that it? They're not eating any animals now for meat. Okay.
nobody's eating anybody, including animals. So a lot of
Wow.
interpreters see this
Wow, interesting.
as us returning to God's original design, where
And
there
what's that exactly?
was no death. So this vision implies a restored
Oh, there was no death. There was no death. We never died. Oh, that's a good one. Okay.
world where humans and animals are living in harmony. And some might take the
Humans and animals are living in harmony. It's this dystopian society. I just love this shit, man. This is really fucking, man, this lady really is nuts. Okay.
this as a way of leaving it as an excuse. Well, the animals still eat other animals now. Well,
They do, yeah. They did back then and they still do, yeah. And they do now.
we would all probably say we're smarter than animals, aren't we? They are working on instinct, and we were designed and created in God's image. We should
Oh, I love this one. We were created in God's image. So we were created in man's image. Man, get it? You understand? Man is recreating man in his image. You should be eating this, you should be doing this, and you should be living like that. Yeah, yes, that's the book. To enslave man.
be better than that, and our excuses need to be there's no excuse. There's no
What?
better excuse, because there is no excuse. The animals can't help themselves. You can, and you can thrive. Even in Proverbs,
How exactly? Please explain it.
eating plants was a metaphor for love, whereas eating animals was a metaphor for hate. So let's go back to Leviticus. Then
Oh, love and hate. Okay. It's a love-hate relationship. We're eating plants. If we are eating it, it's because your parents are feeding you that. Become tradition, and they just keep doing it again and again. They don't even know why they're doing it. They just are conditioned that way to do it.
what of the sin in burnt offerings? If God didn't intend
It's just like the government. Your government is really God. They make all the decisions for you. That's why they have the food pyramid, and then they tell you, listen, you need to obey by the food pyramid and eat the food for four food groups and shit, and 3 meals a day. You need to eat 3 meals a day. You need to do this. You need to do that. You don't need to do any of that. But if you want to listen to the government, follow them. Yeah, it's a good like a good little slave. Yes, sure.
So let's go back to Leviticus. Then what of the sin in burnt offerings?
I don't
If
know
God
what of it.
didn't intend for us to have meat in the original plan, then why would he give us all these rules on how to eat it and how to give him offerings? Let's go back. Before the flood, there was no mention of eating meat for the hundreds of years before the flood. Again, we were given permission after the flood because there was nothing else to eat. At least that was implied. There were sacrifices, like in the
There was nothing to eat. If there was nothing to eat, then what were the animals eating then? She just said that these animals, we were all living together in nature in harmony. So they weren't eating the other animals. What the fuck were they eating if there was nothing to eat? None of this makes it makes absolutely zero sense, because they fucked up in their writings, the guy who wrote the book. First he tells you that they were all living in harmony, they weren't eating each other. And then it says that there was nothing to eat. So what did they live on? Air?
story with Abel offering the lamb to God. But in this situation, it was a burnt offering, which means it was completely consumed for God. It was not meant as human food. Under Mosaic law, we did
God eats lambs? I had no idea. So he was offering a lamb to God, which is probably men. He offered it to men. Because only man can eat a lamb. His God character, he can't eat anything because he's created by men. So it must be a man. God exists only in a book. You walk around with him all day. You can carry him anywhere you go.
have both the burnt offerings, where it was completely consumed once again for God, and there was the sin offerings. And
I
then
love this. It was consumed for God. So God couldn't consume it himself. They did. They did the consuming for him. Yeah, oh, okay.
there were
That
things
makes sense.
like Passover lamb, peace offerings. Those were eaten by
Oh, peace offers. Great acting. This is just great acting. Peace offerings, acting for whatever, man.
people, and that was a gift from God to the
Yeah.
people. But that doesn't mean
Well, it was a gift from God to people. So it was the person that killed the lamb said it was a gift from God, which was a gift from man himself to man.
was food for every day. These were occasional sacred meals.
Yeah, it sure was. You see, because God exists in this book, he couldn't do the killing himself. Get it? It's impossible. He would have to leap out of the book to enslave man, the Holy Bible, which is to enslave man. He'd have to hop out of there and do it himself. Unfortunately, he cannot. He can't do anything.
Even the priests were given little portions
That's why men have to carry out the orders of God. Get it? They carry out his orders. They abide by his orders. They do what he says. You get the idea now, man. You understand what's going on here? But whatever, man. You got to be really stupid not to get it. But yeah,
and they received that, and it wasn't an everyday thing. So
Sure.
what did they eat more frequently? You'll read
What?
about Israelites eating things like manna, which is the bread from heaven,
fuck. I heard that they ate rocks. Is that healthy too? Manna. They ate garbage, peasant slave food.
grains as in wheat,
Why would they eat any of that? Of course, to weaken themselves, yes. To control the slaves.
barley, lentils, and beans. Even Ezekiel bread
That's gross, man. Garbage.
was made of all of that. You've got fruit. I read about so much fig and fig cakes, grapes, raisins,
Yeah, so more toxins and more fructose. Okay, yeah. So basically, calories, no nutrient diet here. No nutrients.
the pomegranates, vegetables, herbs, all sorts, and olive oil and honey.
Olive oil and honey, which are all bad for humans. These vegetables, these toxic vegetables, garbage.
And I realize honey is not plant-based for a lot of people. I throw that in there because it's what the Israelites ate. The one time when the Israelites
That's what the slaves ate, yeah.
craved
The
meat
slaves are eating that. The majority of the world has been enslaved. The elite, they don't eat that. The slaves do, though. They eat this kind of diet.
in the wilderness, God granted it temporarily to have some quail, and he didn't seem very happy with it because a lot of them got sick afterwards. So this is in Numbers 11:33. And while the flesh
Why would they get sick eating quail, I don't know, eggs?
was yet between their teeth, ere it was chewed, the wrath of the Lord was kindled against the people, and the Lord smote the people with a very great plague. But Jesus ate fish, and Jesus
They gave him plague. I wonder where the plague came from exactly, a so-called plague. Jesus ate fish, yeah. Yeah.
was sinless. So, once again, I didn't claim that eating meat was a sin. He ate what was available.
I'm pretty sure Jesus drank blood and ate meat, did a bunch of stuff. Told people to stay away from the peasant slave food diet, but they still want to make it look like he fed people bread and wine. Why would he do that? Wine is poisonous. He's God, right? Why would he poison his people with wine and poison them to eat bread and peasant slave food diets and toxic plants? Why would he do that? That doesn't make any sense. Why would God poison people knowing that plants are toxic and order them to eat toxic plants as opposed to eating a high nutritious diet like animals, which we're meant to do, because we can't digest cellulose and these anti-nutrients in the plants, they just fuck us up. They make us sick. It's a sin to do that. It's a sin to fuck up your body with toxins. It goes against religion. It doesn't make any sense, man. Get it? It says there you treat your body like a temple. How can you treat your body as a temple if you're poisoning it? Makes no sense.
Socially shared. His mission was spiritual, and his teachings were of compassion, peace, and restoration.
Doesn't sound like that. Doesn't sound like that if he's ordering you to eat these fucking poisonous plants. That just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And avoid eating something that is healthy for you, like meat. That makes zero sense.
It goes along with Peter's vision in Acts 10.
To move the zero line down here, this
Unclean animals being lowered from heaven in what sounds like a big
Uncleaned animals? What makes the animals unclean?
picnic blanket where God is giving us permission to eat all
Oh, yeah, he's giving us permission. You're getting permission. Oh, we're on a blanket. Yes. Oh, there's these people floating in the sky. Yeah. Is that before he did opium or after he took a few shots? Or maybe he ate some fucking dirty bread that was in the storage room and the mice got in there and fucking contaminated it. Now he's fucking delusional, seeing things.
the unclean animals now. So Christians interpret this many different ways, and I have talked to different Christians
Why do you have to interpret anything? Wouldn't it just tell you?
of different doctrines. Most, if not all of them, believe that this is
Interpret means that you're gonna make up your own idea. You're gonna change the meaning of what they just told you by interpreting it in your own thoughts. So you're creating. You must be God then, because you're creating, right? God creates, so you're creating.
a figurative
I know we're all gods because we're all whatever. We're all sons and daughters of God. Yeah.
image or vision about accepting the Gentiles, which means
Only a man could be created in man's image, because when man fucks a woman, right, and he creates a little boy, it's created in his image. You get it, dude? But man thinks he's God because he fucks and he can create a child in his own image. It's crazy.
they have different lifestyles to bring in, which
Yeah.
means that the Israelites' God is everybody's God, and now
The Israelites' God is everybody's God. Why would he be everybody's God? Everybody's slave master. I thought they were against slavery, the Israelites. Didn't they make up a story that they were slaves and they ran away from bondage from Israel? When in fact the historical sense is they left. They were contracted there. They were warlike clan, they were contracted, and then they left. They took all their things that they made their money and left. They spent 40 years fucking making an army. Then they went into the land of Canaan, and they were wiping out village after village to make space so they could live there. Yeah.
we should all worship the one true God. But some churches have doctrines
We should all worship the one true man, the Jewish man. Okay.
that believe that this means that we have now been given permission to eat all
Well, America's really doing that already. They're worshiping the one man, and they want everybody else to worship Israel as the one slave master, true slave master. They actually run America. Doesn't Israel run America? That's what they say. They say jump, and Trump says how high. Go and ask them. They say who's running America? They say Israel's running America. Israel wants to run everybody. They want to be the slave master of the world. Don't they run the banking system? Yeah, they run all these wars that are going on. Yeah, they're the one true God. Yeah, Israel. Yeah.
meat there is. And part of that is kind of what it reminds me of Jesus, that if we were to go into some Gentile's house,
Bill Gates, isn't he Israeli? Isn't he Jewish? He doesn't want people to eat meat either. He wants you to eat plants or some weird shit. Yeah.
and they offered us some meat that was formerly unclean, we wouldn't want to be rude or not accepting
They want to give you meat that's unclean. How could what meat is unclean?
of them by saying no. And I get that to a
Okay.
point. I get that. Like Jesus did it because he wanted to try and win their spirits.
Jesus was a naturalist. He wanted people to go back into nature and live naturally so that they wouldn't be enslaved and they wouldn't be suffering from all these diseases like leprosy and all that. He told them, go back into nature and your leprosy will go away. If you stop sinning against nature, your problems would go away. All their suffering would go away. There was lots of suffering because the people weren't living naturally. They were living unnaturally and suffering. He told them to go back and live naturally, but they didn't want that. Instead, they preferred to silence him by killing him so he'd go away.
And since eating meat wasn't a sin, I guess not offending others
Why would meat be a sin? What makes it a sin?
was probably the priority. And that is how my church takes it, rather than offend the person we're trying to.
Why? Because it makes you healthy, it makes you better, it makes you a whole person if you eat meat. So it's sinful to eat that because that which will make you unslave you and make you a normal person, not addicted to anything, nobody can slave you. It's a bad thing, of course.
Save, you be accepting of
It's a
them.
sin.
Of course, I don't really like this example.
See, it's not a sin to go and buy alcohol, poison yourself, or smoke marijuana, or eat these peasant slave food toxic diets. But it's a sin if you, God forbid, if you were to eat something healthy, God forbid, right? But all these other things, they're not sinful. Come on.
don't like this version of it because
Sure.
while it is not a sin, we don't do this with, the things that we do consider sins. Like we may accept
What's
people,
that?
we love people, but it's the whole hate the sin, not the
We love people, we accept people. Okay. People don't love people and they don't accept them. They don't accept a lot of people.
sinner. So in love, we would tell somebody what the sin is so that hopefully they could change their ways, repent, and go with God. Of course, the important part.
If here's the thing, if racism is so sinful, right? These things are sinful, hate and racism. Then why would God build that in you? Well, are you saying he created a defective human being by creating a very sinful, hateful human being? He's God, right? He can create anything. So why would he need to do any of that? And then all of a sudden he needs to create a book to tell you how you should live and don't act on these natural things that he created in you? Why doesn't he just remove them? Because it doesn't exist. The book is made by man to control these things which were already instilled in you. That's the idea.
Is accepting Jesus, and that's what the church teaches.
Right, except Jesus. Jesus says, don't worship me. He says, follow me.
But they don't make excuses for all the other sins out there. But I suppose this isn't a sin, so maybe
What are
that's the
those?
difference. In
What
the
are
end,
those
the
exactly?
gospel is about grace and
What are
not
those
diet.
exactly?
And while this is true, I don't think
It's
it
about grace? I don't think so. It doesn't sound very graceful to me.
means that Christian liberty means indulging in everything permissible, especially since we're all called to take care of our bodies as our temple. And this is kind of
Man, you just do, out in nature, you would do whatever you want because there's no policing, religion, there's nothing out there. If you go out there now and you see all the animals, they're sinning. They're sinning, right? Why aren't they going to hell or the happy place? They're sinning. Where's the laws to stop them from what they're doing? Anybody telling them to stop doing that? No. They'll continue in that behavior. We're animals too. Why do we need control? Why do we need to be controlled from doing any of those things? Why? Let's ponder that thought for a moment.
where I'm going to leave it. In 1 Corinthians 6:19 through 20, know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost, which is in you,
Oh, yeah.
which ye have of God, and ye are not your own. For ye are bought with a price. Therefore glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's. So it means we're to honor God
Sure.
with our physical bodies. And what better way to do that than to treat your
Honor God with our physical bodies. So we're going to honor man with our physical bodies, okay?
bodies with the foods of his original design, which brings you
The
health,
foods of the Israelis' original design, the Jewish original design. Yes. Okay. All right.
purity, and peace. I'm sure I got some of this wrong.
Purity and
I
peace.
still consider
Yes.
myself
Purity and peace. Yeah. Purity and peace. Yes.
kind of a noob. I mean, I've been Christian growing up. I stepped away when
You've been Christian growing up, so you're acting Christian. Man, this is funny. You're a human being. You've grown up. You're a human being. That's what you are. An animal, a human animal growing up. You're not a Christian. That's just something you're labeling yourself with. Man.
I was atheist for a good long while in my adulthood. And then I got obsessed with doing a lot
Let's just put it this way. You're acting Christian. Why don't you just call yourself the proper name? Acting Christian.
of research. I wanted to debunk some of the stuff in
You can't be Christian. You're a human. You can act, but you can't be Christian. You're acting Christian.
the Bible. Turns out I found myself a community and I'm back at it and I'm just digging in deep every day. So while I have
Yeah, I'm sure you are.
an obsession with the whole plant-based diets, my other obsession is actually Christianity.
So she has an obsession with plant-based diets, doesn't know anything about them, and her other obsession is with this whole religious stuff, which she knows nothing really about. Okay. She's just oblivious.
So here's what I have to think about it. I may have offended some Christians. I hope not. I hope that
Why would you offend Christians? They're listening to you, these acting Christians. What's there to offend?
this was something you were willing to listen to. And on the flip side, I know a lot of vegans are probably anti-Christian. I hope you
Why would these vegan people, vegan religion, be anti-Christian? Why would they be anti-Christian? Doesn't make any sense, but whatever.
were able to listen through this with an open mind and know that I do
I listened to it with an open mind. I was just reacting to it. That's all, really.
believe that Christianity supports a
Here's that word, believe. I love it. It's not based on fact.
healthy vegan
She admitted it. Oh, a healthy vegan.
diet. Let me
So they support a healthy herbivore diet, but humans are not herbivores. But okay, man, whatever. Yeah.
know your thoughts and comments below.
Yes, I'll let you know, man. See you in the next video. Tell us what you think about that, friends. Like, subscribe, support the channel. That was just ridiculous. It's just more crazy, religious, whatever. People are really crazy out there.